Welcome to part 3 of Eric's series on various diseases. This is going to be a long series of many, many parts. But today we're going to talk to Eric about heart disease, like coronary artery disease, heart attacks, heart failure, abnormal heart rhythm. So hi, Eric. Can you help us out?
He said, "Hi, Mom. Hi,
Hi.
everyone." He goes, "Yeah, I love talking about that bloody shit."
All right, well, it's very common. It's one of the biggest causes of death in the United States. So I just wanted to see if we could talk about the spiritual roots of those diseases and then how to approach them from a spiritual standpoint.
Okay. He said, let's take heart attacks, where the heart has a fit and stops working. And he said, this is energetically created by a long-term buildup of misunderstood emotional energy. It could be, he's giving it two different kind of platforms. You know, it could be the kind of emotional energy that's really controlled, a little masculine, a little bossy, a little, well, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to tell me how to feel. That kind of holding. Or on the other extreme, it could be the I'm giving away too much. I'm not replenishing my own needs or giving to myself. No, you're right. Here you have it. It's totally okay. And, belittling yourself and pulling in. And he said over years of this behavioral pattern, the energy either collects and bundles up and kind of chokes out the heart, or just quietly doesn't have enough energy for the heart to function. He would love to relate all heart attacks with the ability to function emotionally. But he's saying when you get those cholesterol things blocking, my bad, where it blocks the arteries. He says this isn't so much about how do you handle emotions, but this is how do you treat yourself? How do you feed yourself? How do you give yourself nutrition or give yourself attention or love? He said it's like the sink, you don't care for your plumbing, you just throw shit down there and you don't maintain them, you don't keep them up, you just expect that shit to work all the time, and it doesn't, it gets clogged up, and then you're shit out of luck.
Uh-oh, SOL.
SOL. This is more of not just a dietary need, because food is not the only thing you give to yourself to give yourself nutrition. It's also downtime. How do you handle your time management schedule? So you get the downtime, you have less stress, and then it's also how do you choose to handle other people's thoughts, perceptions, judgments, and emotions of yourself. And people who have blockages like this aren't doing very well at digesting this kind of nutrition. It's clogging up. They're giving themselves the wrong dosage, wrong amount. And he says, hands down, I think we could completely eliminate that kind of illness by teaching people not just how to feed themselves. What are you doing? He got a little crazy there for a second. He stood up, did a little kicky thing, and fixed his shirt. And
spaz attack. An Eric a spirit spaz attack.
Spaz attack. But he's getting a bit rowdy that masses of people are being spoon-fed by marketing that you want to look this way, you want to be this way, you want to eat this, you want to do that. And he says it's just fucking wrong. There's got to be someone, somewhere that says we got to monitor this shit. We got to say, you have freedom of speech, sure, you can put that shit up there, but let's do some public awareness announcements that say, hey, guess what? You need X amount of protein per pound that you are. And it's a short fucking commercial, but it's on every goddamn... Chill out for a second. It's on every station, so everyone can learn the truth without it being filtered through some company who's going to be making money off of it. He's like, we got to get real at some point. It's ticking him off.
He really likes to hate this subject, so to speak. What about a congestive heart failure? What about when your heart fails to be an adequate pump? It becomes a weak pump.
He's pretending to play the violin.
Was it about self-pity?
Yeah, it's very sad.
Oh, okay.
He says it's just when you have given up on yourself. And he said it's crazy because the most confident of people can have this happen. But confidence isn't taking care of your emotional side. Confidence is something that is showy. You know, it's what other people can see of you. But in the quiet corners of your own mind or your own house, your own room, you might not be this person. You have to really love yourself. You got to get to know you. And I can't tell you how many millions of people come across this life and leave this life without even knowing who they really are. They know what they do. They know what their work is. They can define themselves by their actions, but they can't define themselves by how they feel.
That is sad. So how do we do that?
Playing the violin again. How do we do that? He goes, we start in elementary school, it's what we do. And we teach kids how to find their center. We adapt the question of how do you feel rather than what do you think. Because we pull people out of their heads and into their hearts. Watch how much that tiny little adjustment will eliminate disease.
That's pretty powerful.
It is powerful, but why don't we fucking do that shit?
Well, let's do it, Jamie. Erik, come on.
Let's go school to school and teach them how to show the kids how to find their center.
Well, hopefully society will be ready for that soon. What about arrhythmias, abnormal heart rhythms?
Yeah, he says most people are born with that shit.
Okay, but some of them aren't, so why would they get that?
Okay, so for the ones who are, then we got to look past life or down the ancestral line of why that's being given. Whose lesson was it to begin with, and why is it being repeated in the family? And then let's look at the people who have it, and it's created in the life. It's not given to them. First of all, he just thinks that's fucked up. For you, at one point to have a regular heartbeat, and at the next, not. And he said this could be a marker or a trigger from a past life where, he said this is going to get wordy. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, stay with me. If it gets crazy, ask him better questions. I'm already asking him questions. if you're living your life and then all of a sudden you have a change in your physical health and it's completely different, night, day, then this needs to be looked at as Erik, you have to slow down. Please. Look at not just what this life did to help create the situation for you, but what did another lifetime do to help contribute to this, what you're going through right now? So it's not just the arrhythmia. It could be markings that show up on your skin. It could be sudden epilepsy.
Mm-hmm.
There are many examples, that we can go through. But he's talking about being healthy and then having something happen to you that wasn't created by a car accident or an accident, And he said, when that's happening, you need to know that there is work that is unresolved in other lifetimes that you're having, which most of us call it past lives.
Mm-hmm.
And there's work left undone in the life that you're living right now. It's more of a help yourself call. Help yourself. People hit the doorbell to have someone come to the door and let them in. They knock to let them have them come in. Something that's happening suddenly in one's life, it's almost like a knock to say, hey, I need your consciousness in a broader realm, not just in the life that you're living. Something bigger is going on.
So it's a reminder to resolve some past issues or some other issues.
Yeah, and that was based on when the illness, disease, or whatever comes suddenly, and it's not created by an accident, it just arrives to your body and you're dealing with it. Look somewhere else for it. For the cause, for the root cause. All right, he's not talking anymore. It's up to you.
All right. Well, what about, along the same lines as heart disease, what about lipid disorders? High cholesterol, high triglycerides?
He says that's the way you feed yourself. Nurture of own's body. What are you allowing in your life that's not feeding you well? Why are you being mean to yourself?
Why are you giving up all your emotional resources?
Yeah. It could be emotional. We're emotional beings. So, yes. Emotional resources.
All right. So just being aware to be kind to yourself and to put yourself first in a positive way, not a selfish way. And,
yes, first, not selfish.
There we go. And, taking care of your resources. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's go on to very briefly to lung disease. A lot of people suffer from asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, sometimes from smoking, emphysema, etc.
Or simply choking on coffee when you're drinking it.
Yeah, no, got a tickle in my throat, but yes. Smart ass.
He said, I love you too, Mom.
I love you.
Lung disease, not being able to breathe, not being able to get enough oxygen. And he said he likes the concept of fish out of water. That when a fish is out of water, they're not using their he calls it breath, but we'll let him by. When a fish is out of water, they're not using their breath in the way that they're used to. And he said when a human is having a hard time with their environment, it will first attack the respiratory system. And do you remember story time? Do you remember in the old days where people would say, oh, you're not well, your lungs, you have asthma, you have allergies, whatever it is, you need to move to Florida, you need to head to the beach, you need to let the salt air heal you, you need to go to this region and let this heal you. And people would do it. They would pack up and they would go because, of course, you take care of yourself. You can't stay in the city like this. He goes, but what do we do today? We don't do that. We don't change the environment. We say, oh, well, here's some medications. Here's some things that you can do, and we just kind of hope for the best. And stay put, though, and come back to my medical office so I can give you some more, prescriptions. Really, the whole person's life needs to be taken into consideration.
Well, we're not just talking about the physical environment. We're talking about, right? We're talking about other things, relationships, energetic patterns in your environment, etc.
Right. Yes. He says, but physicians and care providers don't necessarily go there because they don't see that as being something tangible enough that would have the physical body react this way into having issues. And he goes, kind of off topic, and he goes, I don't think they're giving enough credit to people who have allergies either. Air quality, pollution, mold, mildew. For sensitive people, that fucks them up. And they think they have something totally wrong with them, when really it's just the freaking quality of air that they're breathing.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, we got to get real. We don't need to get paranoid, but we got to get real about this. If you're sensitive, you need to care for your environment the way that you need to be in it. And don't be afraid to physically pick up and move or emotionally address what's happening in your home. He goes, how about, there's a lot of people out there who feel really bad with family or friends who are having a hard time. And they say, you can come stay with us, you can come stay for 2 months or get on your feet. And then it's a year later and they realize, oh, it's not really what I signed up for, but I love them and I'm doing a good thing. But at the same time, they're not honoring that they need their own space. They're trumping their needs with an external pleasure.
So are you saying that the main spiritual root for lung diseases is not protecting your own space and your own needs? Is that what it is?
Environment.
The environment, okay.
What's your surroundings? Think fish out of water.
Okay. What about the approach, basically is just to find an environment that suits you?
Physically find the environment that fits you, and then emotionally groom it, energetically groom it. He's saying dust bunnies don't disappear by themselves. Energy doesn't disappear by itself.
So how do you groom your emotions and the energy?
You groom your emotions by being able to identify what they are. You got to know what they are. You got to know where you're coming from when you're talking.
So being emotionally honest.
Then you're emotionally honest. Bing! He's so happy. So proud of you.
I try. I'm not without skills.
That's my mom. He keeps pointing at the screen.
And the grooming your energy?
Grooming your energy. He says you got to think about it as something simple or else people won't sign up for it. And that's, imagine that when you're taking a shower, not only are you cleaning the three-dimensional surfaces, that you're letting the water come through and clean off the energy that's in your energetic field. Just by simply thinking about it or pretending to clean it or having some meditation or imagination activity that gets you to get clean. Like if you can imagine, well, that was random. I don't think everybody's going to know that. He's talking about the Looney Tunes episode, the monster, the big red monster, and Bugs Bunny is combing the red monster's hair.
I don't remember that, but I can only imagine.
He said, imagine tangled hair and having a comb go through it until all the tangles are brushed out. And he goes, that's what you need to pretend with the energetic field that you carry around you. And that's what you have to pretend also with your home. Think about your bed, man. Oh, yeah.
I never make mine. Sorry.
Well, he said it's not just about making it, but to think about the energy that lays in that shit.
Ew. So you have to dust that one off, too. So the
dust... because you're sleeping in it for 8 hours a night.
The dust bunny's under and the sheets on top. All right. Well, I think that's a great... I'm going to close off and make my bed right now. So that's the end of part 3. I want to thank everybody for joining us. There will be plenty more to come. Now, if you want to visit Jamie's site, it's withloveandlight.com. And the and is spelled out A-N-D. And, of course, Erik's blog is www.channelingerik.com. We will see you guys later.
Thank you. Erik says bye to everyone. He'll haunt you soon.
Bye, sweetie. I love you.
He says bye, Mom. Bye, Lisa. Thank you.
Bye, Jamie. Thank you.